is America. Don't catch you slipping. No. Don't catch you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Look how I'm living now. Police be tripping now. Yeah, this is America. Guns in my area. I got the strap. I gotta carry 'em. Yeah, I'ma go into this. Yeah, this is gorilla. Yeah, I'ma go get the bag. Yeah, or I'ma get the pad. Yeah, I'm so cold like yeah. I'm so dull like yeah. We gon' blow like yeah.
Yo, Flame. Yo, what's up, Justiverse? Yo, let's have a conversation. Wanna have a conversation? We can have a conversation. Yo, we can have a conversation. Yo, let's have a conversation. Anytime you want a conversation, we can have a conversation. Have a conversation.
Yo, how you feel about your craft, where it takes you? Hoping to break through and show the whole world that can make or break you. Times when there was no bread to make do is what we had. All hard times turn to craft, still honing. It's like something inside keeps going, knowing I ain't got a dime, dealing with this present time. Just a verse, you feel me?
How do I feel about my craft, you ask? Well, my craft is more than words, it's a verse to express me. Laced with fire to spark a flame unexpectedly, always making listeners think. When I think about my craft, I think of cats from my past. De La Soul paving the way for most Def Common and Talib Kweli. Once looked at as hippies, now looked at as thinkers, teachers. I want to teach her and him not to give in to the pressures of image. Now, I know I'm slightly changing the subject, but cats be subject to change the lyrical content because a horny record rep on the extra zero on their paycheck said to. So now I ask you, how you feel about image?
What's up, everybody? And as you say, what it be? Welcome to another edition of Unvaccinated Voices. We got a very special show for y'all today. I think you'll really get a kick out of it. You ever wonder where some of the things that people say about black folks come from? Like, for instance, like people have this attitude to believe that black people are lazy. Where'd that all start? People have the attitude to believe that we're not smart. Where did that start? People have this thing to believe every black man has a big vocabulary. Where did that all start? We're going to find out today because we got an episode today. It's called Mythbusters. Now, we're going to break it down. And to help me break it down, we got the crew here with you. You guys know these people. You love them already because they are the fam. They are definitely the fam. You must give them the love, right? None other than, of course, Just a Burst. Hold it down out there in Phoenix for the people. Just a Burst. What it be?
And if you don't know, now you know.
She knows. I'm telling you. She got the thing going. She's like listening. She got it going on. She'll be joining us in a second. John C. Hinton's in the house. The professor, of course. Professor, hanging out there in Connecticut, where we're going to be talking a lot about Connecticut, what's going down. So talk to me, brother. How you doing, man?
What's going on, my peoples? Mi gente. For those of you who speak Espanol. Yeah, I'm getting better at it. Got my Spanish
torture word or two, huh?
Yeah, we're going to talk about stereotypes, man. We're going to get into it. One particular stereotype, I hope it don't happen. I normally don't eat before the show. So if I fall asleep.
But it's amazing. We're going to get into that. But that's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of stuff, saying. It's like, it's crazy, man. Just the Burst. Hold on a second. Just the Burst is down there. And of course, she, by the way, tomorrow, folks, we'll talk a little bit about later. She's going to definitely get into it a little bit later. But tomorrow, on It's Just a Conversation, you definitely need to check that out. We're going to concentrate on this right now, but I must bring this up. I'm going to bring this up several times during the show because tomorrow is that one episode. If y'all think last week was good, wait till y'all check this week out. It's okay to not be a strong, independent woman all the time. Now, a lot of y'all may think, especially after what women pulled off over the last few years, particularly at this last election, how sisters just stood up. you would think that's not the case, but she gonna break it down. I'm not gonna get into it right now. Just first, how you doing?
Can y'all hear me? Because I can barely.
We can hear you.
Okay,
oh, you
cool.
can. We can hear you.
I can hear you like barely. I'm doing. You were asking me about tomorrow's show?
No, I was just giving people a little tease of what you bring to the table tomorrow, because tomorrow is like I said, like, you know, the beautiful part for me is I get to sit back and actually watch these because I'm the producer and I'm co-director doing it, and it's like I get to watch these, and when I tell you folks, it's one you need to check out. Trust me, it's one you need to check out. But tonight,
we ain't okay all the time. Like, I got a whole nail missing. I ain't okay. Every day I ain't strong. You feel me?
That says it all right there. But you know what? Before we get started, the first thing I want to do is, oh, by the way, we got a new feature on tonight. We'll talk to you a little about that later. We got some new sponsors coming on. Y'all gonna check out. You're gonna absolutely love. I tell y'all, support Black business. It is definitely important. But to get us started on tonight's subject, Mythbusters, here is the professor himself, John C. Hinton, and he's gonna start out with a little enlightenment.
Yes, today's subject is stereotypes of people of color and our culture. And that dates back to the period of African enslavement during the colonial period. You see, you had white folks dressing in, doing those minstrel shows and using white actors and black faces, and even going as far as to supposedly wear clothing that was once worn by former slaves, to clown and disparage us in the 19th century of stereotypes. Yeah, persistent racism and discrimination that we faced for, I don't know, maybe 402 years. And it's the Sambo, it's the Mandingo and the Jezebel stereotypes. It's the sexualized African Americans as hypersexual. The mammy, remember the one with the mammy? That's that black woman that's dedicated to her role as working for white folks. Y'all hush up now. Yo's mama left me in charge. Yeah, them stereotypes. That dates all the way back. And having that unusual appetite for fried chicken, watermelon, and grape drink. All of them stereotypes. It even goes as far as in our all of our arrangements. Do you know that one of the most racist, not one of, the racist movie to ever be depicted in Hollywood was Birth of a Nation? Now, if you ever seen Birth of a Nation, it was by a fucked up director by the name of, I'm not even gonna give him the letter. You can look him up. I wrote it down here. I'm not even paying attention. But he basically had Lincoln as a sympathizer for the Confederacy. And that it was basically the Ku Klux Klan coming to save the day from black people that was raping the white women and killing white folks, which was, the actors was mostly all white, painted up in black faces, and basically looked at as cannibals and so forth. This movie was shown, believe it or not, in front of in front of Theodore Roosevelt, who basically showed it to his family, his friends at the White House. This movie, Birth of a Nation, was a movie that galvanized the Ku Klux Klan. And it was Woodrow Wilson, excuse me for that. Now imagine can you imagine Joe Biden sitting back and watching the Ku Klux Klan saving the day at the Capitol with his family and the dog that bite everybody? So my point of it all is that we're going to have a conversation on that because it's deep rooted. And yes, we could say that certain black people is responsible for it with all those pimp movies that they came out that depicted us as prostitutes and in the 80s as drug dealers or crackheads, and the movie roles that was done depicting us as menacing. Some of the movies that came out in the 90s, New Jersey Drive, depicted us as stealing cars at 12, 13, 14 years old. New Jack City, all of those movies that we thought was cool. The cartoons that showed us in blackface and big lips after the... so when you wonder, why is racism systemic, or as Coakley Carmichael stated, institutionalized in our arrangements? It is. From being a little kid watching cartoons of black people considering us lazy. They even had a cartoon called Lazy Town, a Looney Tunes cartoon dated back in 1944 that depicted us in the worst, horrific way. So that's our topic today. Stereotypes, where they come from, how it affects all of our arrangements, and yeah, how fucked up it is.
You know what? Enlightenment is good, folks, but we got to get into this a lot deeper. Before we actually break into this conversation, which, by the way, you folks out there watching right now, feel free to speak up. Let us know what you're thinking. You can always reach us on by Gmail also. And if you want to come on the air, hit me up on Gmail. I'll put you on. But one of the shows in particular that John was referring to, and I think this is really going to cover it. So sit in your seats for a second, folks. Give me 2 minutes and let me show you something that you probably are not quite ready for, but we all grew up on Looney Tunes, and trust me when I tell you, what I'm about to show y'all is loony.
I'm gonna take me away. Gonna catch me away. Well, shut on there. Rabbit tracks.
Oh.
Pursuit height. All right, Mr. Rabbit, I've got you covered. Put up them hands or else I'll blitzkrieg you. And now you march. You get going, Rabbit. Oh, no, you don't. What's up, Doc? I just shot me a rabbit, and you all
I think at this point, everybody gets the point. This was just a small example of, I remember that cartoon vividly when I was a kid. I thought it was actually funny, and I laughed my butt off when I saw it, because in my mind, that wasn't me. My lips ain't like that. My feet ain't that big. I don't slip over. I don't talk that way. So to me, that was exactly, what it was what they tried to convince me it was supposed to be, a cartoon character. What I never realized at that time is that the people that made that actually was saying was that was me, Now, obviously things have changed a lot. I'm the oldest person on this thing, so obviously things have changed a lot, and you guys' generations with it. But let me just ask you, just a verse, as a person of your age who sees something like that, what's the first thing that goes through your mind?
I mean, Black people have come so far at this point that honestly doesn't even faze me. I know I'm gonna get pushed back and everybody's gonna want to yell at me, but it doesn't faze me because first of all, it doesn't surprise me. The shock value of white America at any point in the United States, it just doesn't exist with me anymore. I don't look at this and I'm like, oh, I can't believe. Like, I'm like, okay, yeah, that looks like something they do. So it's right on script with America. You know what I'm saying? So, what I do think after you spoke is that there's power in your family and your parents specifically instilling a level of love within yourself that you did not see yourself in that. And this is why it's so important that our role models and the people we look up to are not these celebrities, no diss to them, but they're people in your own home, in your own neighborhood, because those people have an impact when the media is telling you that's you. When you have those people, when you have the village that's raising the child, your first thought was not, this is a depiction of me. And that's the beauty in everything that just took place, from seeing it to you explaining. That's the beauty in that, because where there would be a big problem, and I'm sure this was the case for some people, but where there would be a big problem is if you said, and I thought that's how I looked for many years, and then I had to recondition myself to believe such and such and such. So
you had vivid memories of your grandmother, right?
Mm-hmm.
A mother, right? You
yes,
know that wasn't gonna happen.
Of course. Of course not.
That wasn't gonna happen.
Of course not. Not with mother. No, sir.
You know, but it's you look at these old cartoons, particularly these old cartoons that just go out and they were out there. And as a kid, like I said, I sat back and I thought Walt Disney was the greatest guy in the world. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking like, yo, Walt Disney, man, this guy is great. And then, and I remember distinctly seeing this zippity doo dah, you know, the black man just dancing through the woods with with the little white kids and the animals that loved him and everything. And that to me, you know, and I grow up and I take a good look at this thing and I said, wait a minute. I said, hold up for a second. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. And I know as you guys were coming up, like I said, with me being a couple of years older, but I mean, let me just go. By the way, we are joined, of course, by the Queen, Karina Ford. She's here right now. I got to give her the love. You growing up, right? Do you remember any images like that? You know, of just blatantly racist stuff when you were a kid, man, that somehow or another maybe got by you, or maybe you didn't get by you. I don't know.
I'm from Connecticut. Anything was racist. I mean. Everything.
Word. From America, everything is racist.
Yeah,
but continue.
Yeah, everything is racist, especially if you're in a super white state. You know what I mean? Connecticut is a very super white state. You know what I'm saying? So the images, like I seen, like when I now I'm dating myself, but I don't give a shit. My father, one of the first movies I went to see is Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. You know what I'm saying? So the images I seen never looked like me. Except when we watch Good Times and all that, that was like, you know what I'm saying? Like something for us, you know, what's happening and stuff like that. We used to tune into those things. But, you know what I mean? Archie Bunker was super racist, but I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? He was like, hey, you know, that's just how they are. He was being honest and shit, be honest. You know what I mean? So keeping it 100. So I don't think I've really seen like, or understood at that time or when I was young, if it was racist or not. You know what I mean? It was just what it was. So you just kind of roll with it because that's just what it was. You know, the most racist thing that, you know, I experienced at Ford, you know, I told you guys is when they separated me in school. You know, I was in Head Start. The young nun came in playing that colors game, you know, like colors. All right, this was great. It's a great game. Until I was the only black one in the room. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. You know what I mean? And I didn't even know, like, you know, I was like black. I didn't know. I know that sounds crazy and shit, but my parents didn't teach a color. They taught me everything else, you know what I'm saying? So all of those movies is, you know, wow, yeah. You're right, Lisa. Tarzan was one of them shits.
Tarzan movies.
Tarzan was super rare, right? Because you know, no white man is swinging in no jungle.
First of all,
he would have been burnt down first. He would have died because he was sunburned to death. You know what I'm saying? That's one. And the natives wouldn't have felt comfortable. Oh, white man, they would have. Shit, the cannibals might have got him. You know what I'm saying? New meat, different. You know.
You know, it's maybe the Tarzan movies are the reason why, you know, you don't see black folks really running around the woods, and every time you turn around, a white person is always the one getting caught out there. They got no cell phone in the middle of the woods. They got a commercial they show that cracks me up. There's this one, I think it's a Jeep commercial, where they show the guy, he goes through all this trouble to get the Jeep, and he's got the motor home and everything, and it's all got the plugs up and all the hookup, and he backs up, and the next thing you see is the dude getting on a motorcycle to go ride up in the woods. It's like, really?
What are you doing there?
And you turn the news on, Joe Smith is attacked by a cougar in California. Little Lisa Roberts is missing in Montana in the woods. How did that happen? Well, she decided to go hiking, and the parents will say like it's normal. Well, she always goes hiking in the woods. She just always just goes out and hiking in the woods. This is what she does, you know. And it's like
Jamal and Keisha ain't gonna be out there.
We've never heard of that's true. We've never heard of Jamal.
They looked at the sign, seen it was a bear on the sign. We just got to see it on the sign. Like what? Oh yeah, no, this ain't walking. This
playing these games.
We're gonna stay in our campground right here.
Yeah, it's like, you know, because I used to go out all the time and go camping, but we were never less than a mile or so from a store. It's like it was the woods, but you go down the road half a mile. There's a store, there's a McDonald's,
Thanks.
a gas station.
Growing up, Seventh-day Adventist, I was in Pathfinders, and we went camping all the time. But there was property that the Seventh-day Adventist conference owned, and we camped on that property. Like sometimes we stayed in the cabins, you know what I'm saying, depending on what the weather was talking about. But yeah, we weren't trying to. Mosquitoes was the best. Yeah, that's the most.
Word. Hey, John, no, in Connecticut, we went to Fresh Air Camp as kids. That's it. It was a cabin. It was people out there that guided us.
My mom was left. I went camping on the back porch. I wasn't about that. No, for real. I camping. No, you know, for me, I look at the movies and because I was always into watching movies and TV shows and so forth. So all of the ones that were my hero, I wasn't even thinking like then. And I understand what you were saying, just a verse is like, we was raised with love. It wasn't raised with seeing that this was black, this was white, this and that. It was always our mother instilling in us our beauty and our love and unconditional and so forth. And a lot of y'all know my story. But the sad thing for me is the ones that I did look up to, thinking that they were like the heroes. I watched all them John Wayne movies. You know, John Wayne killed about 400 Native Americans with one gun and 3 bullets. You know, and watching The White Shadow. And I look back now, it was like always the white dude that's coming to help out a whole bunch of black folks. You know, whether it was basketball, you look at the TV shows. We grew up, like Karina said, we grew up watching Good Times and That's My Mama. But you ever notice with the white shows, it was single mom. If she was a single mom, it's because they got a divorce.
Or he passed away. That's always it.
But in the black shows, James Evans was he in a car accident and died?
No, I remember he left and he went to He took a job or something, right?
Worked on the pipeline. Remember the pipeline?
Yeah.
Yep.
He took a job, which, by the way, we all know ain't no brothers out there on that pipeline because that's in the liver woods and them wolves out there. Yeah, you might find somebody like Larry Elder trying to play it off, but
and I grew up watching Tarzan. My mom used to come home and I'm acting like I'm Tarzan. Have one of them old towels, like a diaper and a butter knife. I'm jumping around on the furniture. My mom come home from church, cussing our ass off. What the hell you doing with your ass on my couch? Is that my good knife? I said, Mom, I'm being Tarzan. You be Tarzan outside. Don't be jumping around on my furniture. But then when I look back on it, you're right. A black man controlling a whole fucking continent with a knife and a monkey, right?
and a white woman.
And a white woman.
By the way, never did anything. She was always so comfortable in the woods.
And she was so blonde.
You gotta remember. Well, actually, the original Jane was not blonde. She had short black hair like Lois Lane. Yeah, it was. And here's the funny part: she in the woods, ain't nowhere near the beauty parlor. Miss Breck or Miss Prell ain't been nowhere around there. Yet her hair was always perfect. Makeup was always.
Hey, I got one for y'all. Every Easter, like clockwork, I used to sit up for 4 nights and watch Jesus of Nazareth. Right. And then I got old, I watched that shit. I'm like, wait a minute. Not only is Jesus white, but he got a British accent on the cross. Lord! In your hands I giveth thee. I'm like, word, yo. Jesus was Shakespearean. Fuck out of here.
Yo, I used to ask my grandmother about that shit all the time, John. I used to say, hey, grandma, it says in the Bible, Jesus was bronze and his hair was like wool. It's nothing like this man right here. Who is he? He's an imposter. He's an imposter. Who is this white man? No way.
Well, for anybody that ever read, that's the part that cracks me up because I never understood, and I'm not going to get too far away from what we're talking about, but I never understood how they could have, like, the first image of Jesus I ever saw. I'll never forget this. I was a kid, and this had to be in the 60s. He was a white dude, skinny, chiseled face, long flowing, light brown hair, rosy cheeks. You know what I'm saying? Dude could have been Richard. He could have been Richard Gere. You know what I'm saying? And then one day, I messed around because my grandmother used to make that Bible study, and I'm reading this part about his feet were like bronze and his hair was like wool. Now look at the picture. So, I don't know where they got this idea from, but last I heard, right? What did my man say? I forget the brother that said it. Jesus ain't honky.
But you know what? That right there, every time I get into that discussion, it goes to show how blatant the racism is. Yeah. You give the Bible that clearly describes a non-white male. You can go ahead and play with it after that, but it clearly describes that he's not white. And then you turn around and say, listen to what I say, not what we just gave you in this book that you're supposed to follow so that you can continue to serve us and all that other type of stuff. Well, I digress, but it's just so blatant for you. They could have changed it before we figured out how to read and stuff. They had every opportunity to change it.
And that just tells you right
but
there.
They didn't care.
And that just tells you right there how far back Trump supporters go.
Wow.
Wow. They don't read. All they do is listen to what's being said.
Yeah. Wow. Anything on TV they just see. That's what it is. But you know what? I'm not really a TikToker. I'm just really kind of getting into it on some things, right? And so one of the things, right, they said, what is it about? I don't know if you guys seen this, but it was like, what is this about the Bible that nobody really wanted to talk about or whatever's not true? And the white lady said that there's no white people in it. I said, ooh, somebody said it. I didn't want to say it because then they were like, you racist, you black, you get. White lady said it. Thank you, white lady. You're right.
Yeah, that's true.
And no
That's
white people in it.
And I
Not
didn't think
one.
about that until I saw that. That's If you think about it, there are no white people in the Bible. None.
And,
None.
and if you look at some of our entertainers, like, is Holly Berry really proud of that Academy Award that she got? When she up there banging her ass up there against the birdcage in that movie with Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know, and you know, I mean, think about what they accept. They won't accept the color purple, but It's Hot Out Here Being a Pimp won Best Movie. You know what I'm saying? Morgan Freeman being nominated for being a pimp in a movie back in '71 called Mean Streets. You know,
Denzel for being a crooked cop.
Right. And
all
look,
that amazing work that man has done.
Right.
And I won't hate on it because Training Day is a great movie. It really is. But
hey, I got your money. Hey.
You know, and to be honest with you, Training Day is what it did make me respect Denzel more because I hated him for a good year. Mm-hmm. Him as a person. Like, right. I was like, I'm gonna rock with Denzel. Like, why would you go at that? And then I said, dang, bro played that role so good that he really made me hate him and go against every black woman in America. You know what I'm saying? But I grew up watching TV with my grandfather, and my grandfather, he watched Beverly Hillbillies, the Andy Griffin Show. Those types of things. Then my mother, coming from Jamaica, when it comes to American music back in the day, talk to any old Jamaican, more than likely they love country music. Okay. Yeah. And I grew up I grew up in this whole a diverse way of everything from gospel music. I have my dad's side who, you know, they listen to the Mahalias and all of that. But then I have my mom's side who listened to, you know, I sang the Handel's Messiah for 10 years in Orlando in a choir full of old people. Matter of fact, I broke the age barrier that they had there. You were supposed to be 18 or older to join this. It's a bunch of old heads in Orlando. And I was 12 when I went the first time, because when I was little, my grandmother, when I was in Jamaica, she would make me turn pages for the pianist. And in turning pages for the pianist, I'd end up learning the music. So I know how to read music and all that type of stuff. But I grew up very diverse in my way of thinking and everything. But something in me always knew that I was black and I was dope. And personally, I think it's the 80s, because in the 80s, man, my uncle's the one that was the hip hop head. And all of those dashikis and these medallions and all of this, and everybody was just on it. Yes, everybody was just on this super black, it was so strong. And then these are my young years in New York, when I'm still in New York, and I'm getting all of that blackness. Like, I didn't know exactly what the whole black white thing necessarily was. But despite watching those shows and everything, I just knew I was dope. Like in just my melanin, that much I knew. So it takes that village. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and you speaking the truth though, because we were talking one time on the phone, and I said to Just a Verse, I said, yo, you really, since the way you flow and the people you look up to in hip hop, I said, I'm gonna put you onto this group called X Clan. She's like, my uncles used to play X Clan.
I'm telling you, Uncle Scott was the dude when it came to that hip hop.
When she said that made me go, Van Glory. This is protected by the red, the white, and the green.
You better pull up my playlist. Oh, don't do it to me.
What? Listen, y'all think Public Enemy was tight? Y'all think like all of the other groups that came out? You really think? And no disrespect to all of them.
No disrespect to them. Boogie Down Productions, all no disrespect.
Them, you know, no disrespect. But turn your ears on to X Clan just a little bit, and you want to hear some intellect from the East, my brothers from the East.
And you want to know what's keeping in line with what we're talking about and starting out with those old this, that, and the other. I have my It's called That Good Shit. That's the playlist. But it's my my old school. Well, I say probably from like the early 80s to the mid 2000s. I have a whole playlist of stuff. And I'll listen to stuff in the 80s that they're talking about. If it wasn't for the beat, their content, you might as well have just said this happened last week. And it's so scary because it shows you how much we want to talk about all this forward movement and we doing so great and no, our people are this, that, and the other. But there's a lot of stuff that should not be relevant. And I'll go back to stuff in the 60s and the 70s, just listen to those, or maybe even before. Some of the content is like what's happening, why we're still in a lot of these positions. I know that we're moving, but
people are selling out for the dollar, and it's sad. I looked at, and I think y'all, Eddie talked about this. We were on the phone today, and evidently I had conversations on it. Jimmy Walker. Now, you look at Jimmy Walker, who was the hottest dude on Good Times, and the one that got fired, John Amos, who refused to be looked at as a minstrel with this guy, as being like ghetto and all of these stereotypes, and having white folks try to depict how we talk and our culture and how we live our lives. So they fired him. Norman Lear, boom, kicked him off the set. Look at the careers, though, for somebody who stayed true to themselves. His shit ended after Good Times and whatever that movie he did with Sidney Poitier and Bill Cosby. But you look at John Amos, his career. Yeah, Uptown Saturday Night.
I was trying to think of it.
That was a good movie. That was good.
I saw it a few times.
Yeah, you look at John Amos' career though, from Roots all the way through to Coming to America 2. He's still getting that work.
I want you to picture any role you could think of. Jimmy Walker in Roots. On that note, we're gonna take a quick pause for the cause. You know, something come think about. We come back exactly. Right? They beat him instead of going, "What's your name?" Kuta Kinte, slap. What's your name? What's your name? Dynamite. That just doesn't work. That doesn't work. We come back. We are going to get a little bit deeper on this thing about stereotypes. I want to talk a little bit about how W.E.B. Du Bois had a lot to do with changing the way the world sees Black people. And we'll get right back to this after we bring y'all these few quick selections from people. Oh, by support Black business, y'all. Please support Black business. Two quick things I want to tell you. Number one, Blue Boy Boxing. I keep telling you all the time. Check out. I keep putting it up on the page. Check out what this brother's doing. He got a lot going on. And download the daggone app, y'all. Download the app. It's free. It's free. Free. There's 137 of y'all watching right now. It's free. Blue Boy Boxing. Just Google it. Blue Boy Boxing. It's there. It's good for you. Cousin Paul has a t-shirt sale going on. Some of his new funky t-shirts, man. $10. I just ordered a couple myself the other day. Check it out. Like I told you, it's easy as anything. 9/11 Fast is back. Got a whole bunch of brand new stuff. New lineup. Check out. Press on nails. Well, we get to her later because y'all gonna like this because she got some stuff going. Stephanie, show them fingernails. Show them 9 of them.
I'll show you this hand because the other hand got a missing finger.
It's all there. So check out the people we got, and we'll see you guys on the other side of the break.
You bless. Yeah. Wait in line for it. Make time for it. Hustling faith to walk blind for it. Struggling grace, I had to climb for it. I'm inclined to find a better grind for it. I had to climb for it. I'm inclined to find a better grind for it. You bless. Yeah. Wait in line for it. Make time for it. Hustling faith to walk blind for it. Struggling grace, I had to climb for it. I'm inclined to find a better grind for it.
I'm Cousin Paul, CUZZINPAUL. I just want to be America's favorite cousin. I love everybody. Peace.
Hustling faith to walk blind for it. Struggling.
So many people helped me get to this point in my life. I just want to do the same for others. It would be disrespectful to those who trained me, poured all that knowledge into me, not to pay it forward. As I train, I just want to produce winners. Not just in the boxing ring, but in the game of life. Life is like one long boxing match. You bobbing, you weaving, trying to go the distance, trying to outlast challenges that'll come your way. You don't always have control over situations, but you do have control over your attitude and how you treat them. I've had many challenges, many obstacles I've had to overcome, and I did.
Download Blue Boy Boxing Club app for free at the App Store or Google Play.
Melanated queen, when you look in the mirror, what do you see? Is it royalty? Is it the vision of your unmatched beauty? I see you, do you see me? We are the mothers of the earth. Seeds planted by our kings nurture our very nature in which life does emerge. Submerge yourself in the wave of your beauty. So many imitate you and me, melanated queen. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? Is it love unapologetically? Is it the realization that you are unique? I see you. Do you see me? From your crown to your feet and the frequency that vibes in between. God is love. You are the epitome. When you look in the mirror, do you see you're a melanated queen?
You're watching Unvaccinated Voices on UVVTV.
Yo, what's up? What's up, y'all? Apologize for those technical glitches, but you know when you're doing live, you notice that happens on Just Conversation. But I digress. Yeah, what can I say? But I'll give you a little rundown a little bit later. People I missed, forgive me. It's all out there. But let's get straight to this one thing I definitely want to get into, and this is a big deal. Back in the after Reconstruction, there was a problem in America, and that problem was that since 1765, there was this thing where they just decided after slavery was over, 1800s when slavery was over, or not over, but when they Emancipation Proclamation, all that kind of stuff. When they finally got all that stuff together, the first thing white supremacists did is they went out and they started changing the way that black people were viewed. There were slaves and everything else, and around the world they started putting out that black men were actually monkeys. They had tails. We couldn't fly planes because we weren't intelligent enough. We impregnated women, black men impregnated women, and left them single mothers. Black women essentially were whores. That's what they were essentially saying. They were whores. And in France, in Paris, there was an exhibition of 1900 where W. Du Bois compiled a series of photographs called the American Negro Exhibit. And he organized the 363 images and albums and entitled Types of American Negroes. From Georgia, life in Georgia, essentially. At the time, W.E.B. Du Bois was a professor of sociology at Atlanta University, historically black college. Thank you very much, and committed to combating racism and trying to straighten out the economic situation for America at that time, and it worked. It actually worked around the country. It showed a lot of people exactly what we're really all about, and it started to change the images. And some of the images that even I show you right here are from that collection, and also from the collection. Shucks, I can't think of the gentleman's name. See this? Monahan, also part of the Monahan collection of black people. Most of these people, after they left the South, ended up going to New England. And uniquely enough, they ended up going to Connecticut and Massachusetts. And the images they set for black people were one thing, but it was these pictures that were put out that actually changed the way people saw Black people around the world. And these pictures were just a small collection showing Black people doing things that supposedly we couldn't do. We couldn't play the violin, supposedly. We weren't intelligent enough to do that, supposedly. All we did is sit around and be lazy, but that's a soldier right there. A lot of these pictures were not identified by name, and a lot of these people don't know exactly who these people were. But they found a lot of these pictures, and I got another set of pictures I'll show you guys later. But this is Black men and Black families all together, which supposedly, according to the people, the white supremacists and the people that decided that we could not learn, we could not do anything, these are the images that they didn't know were putting out there. I mean, that's a dignified sister right there. You know what I'm saying? Just for the record, you know. So this is the kind of stuff that they said didn't exist. And I remind you once again, no matter what you may think, this is the image that America had. When you thought about the family, this is the image that was always presented. You know, mom, pa, kettle, grandmother, you know, grandkids, family, the whole 9 yards. And in reality, it just skipped right over that realistic picture right there of the Black man with his family, you know, right there. The Black man staying with his woman right there. The sister's not dressed like a Jezebel, you know, not chasing everybody around. You know what I'm saying? Black men that served long before Tuskegee Airmen and all these other people, you know, these are Black people that actually went out and they served. And I mean, they served with distinction, and they had families, and they weren't ashamed to show you they had families. College professors, by the way, and we'll talk about this later too. Black pilots that flew in World War I. I bet y'all didn't know about that, did you? But the point that I want to make more than anything else at this point is something that Karina and I talked about the other day. And that was a surprise to me, but it was a surprise to people that obviously grew up and had deep roots back in Connecticut. But the idea that Black people were, you know, at one point, essentially, they were running this whole thing. You know what I'm saying? They had all these businesses. They were doing all this stuff in Connecticut, stuff like that. And these families weren't just throwaway families. Karina, give me run back what you were telling me yesterday about all this.
Well, actually,
we don't have
I ain't gonna lie, I forgot. Like, remind me, give me a.
No, you about your family and the things that were going on and what y'all were doing. You know, you weren't just a bunch of, you know.
Oh no. We all, you know, my whole family. You know, there's no like my mother didn't graduate college, neither did my father until like later on, or whatever. My parents were blue collar workers. My mother was a CNA, but she also did hair. And then my father was a master carpenter, and he went through so much. But you know, he used to bring everybody, all those dudes, like to the house. So, you know, it was very diverse. There's a lot of white people. You know, where I was from, when I grew up in the projects, it was white people that lived there too. So it was different. You know what I'm saying? It was a different thing. And my grandmother, she was a CNA, and then she got a good job at like the factory. And my grandmother always drove a Cadillac. And even though she lived in the project, it was like a different part of it where it was kind of like nice. It was only like 10 houses over there or what have you. And when people would go in her house, they were like, this doesn't even look like the project. My girl said, what you think? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we live like what? It's all supposed to be jacked up. Like, my grandmother was one of the first ones to have one of those big ass floor TVs. You know, we put everything on it and everything. She had everything. We go over her house all the time. She had the cable. Remember when the cable had, I know Steph ain't gonna remember this, but cable used to have a cord to it.
Yep.
How young do y'all think I am? Like, bruh.
Don't forget the knob on the box.
Yep.
Get that magazine.
My grandmother was, you know, we thought they were rich because, you know, my grandmother drove a Cadillac. My grandfather had a car. Like, they always had money. It was just like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? And I always wondered why they never like purchased a home. I don't think they knew like how to, you know what I'm saying? Or if it was available. I think they tried to one time, which was crazy because my grandmother actually owned, and I just remembered this, she actually owned a building, and we lived in the building, and it had like, it was like 5 apartments on each thing, just kind of like New York, how you go up the big stairs, and then it's like, okay, there ain't no elevator in the building, so it's a lot of stairs. You gotta walk around and around, you know, to go up the next stairs like that. And at the bottom, she had a antique store. And I used to go in there and work because I figured I'm going to get some money. But it was a lot. But I thought it was just going to be like, I just go in there. It's going to be nothing. I'm just going to, work. You know what I'm saying? Just get the money, work for a little bit and get money to get candy and shit, But my grandma was like, no, that's not what we doing. If you want this time, you got 4 hours and this is what you going to be doing. She was serious.
Get up there and fix that roof.
I was like, I said, Grandma, but I'm only 8. And she said, well, what does that mean? She told me that some kids was sewing soccer balls in Mexico. I was at 5. I was like, what?
So the least you could do.
But my parents and grandparents were really, they were workers. Like they weren't poor. If they were, I don't remember because they had you understand? Like they had everything. It was weird. They owned a business but didn't own a home. Like they allowed them to have a business, but they couldn't have a home. But it was different. It's different makeup than what you would think it is. You think it's projects, we hanging out all day, EBT car. No, my whole family worked all their lives, and that's all I knew, to work and go to school. That's why it was a big deal for my grandmother that I went to college. What? You better be quiet. My granddaughter's going to college. She gonna be somebody. That was her thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, they were instrumental back then. Back then, Black families were closer. It seemed like it was closer knit than it is now. Because my grandmother was not at the club with my mama.
I was about to say your grandmother wasn't 28, so you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, she had them. She had kids when she was young though, but it was a certain level of respect. Still, even when they got older, they say something. My grandmother would be quick to pop you with a spoon. Everybody getting popped. That's what what I'm saying. I don't care how old you were. My mother would have kids. She had us, but she would still get popped.
And if you were in the house, you got it too. It ain't matter if you mine or not. You here?
The whole thing was popping. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so I learned a lot really from them just to work hard. My father, he was busy doing other things. He was out shaking. You know what I'm saying? He was out there. So
it's amazing. It's amazing you had a family where you said that nobody graduated college, and not only did you graduate college, but retired at an age that, that I don't care who you are, what color you are, to sit back and look in your 40s, man, and talk about I ain't got to work no more. And I ain't got to take no more crap. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's stepping up to the plate. Let me say real quick also, we're joined by Big Kev. He's in the house. And Big Kev, by the way, his show will be premiering on UVVTV soon. Big Jazz Sunday Brunch. Big Kev Sunday Brunch. Kev, you a man from the South, down there in Charlotte area and whatnot. How did growing up down South, what was the biggest difference of growing up down South, man, as far as keeping track of who you are, not just as a man, but as a Black man, and the family dynamic down in the South?
Well, first of all, what's up, family? High vibrations to everybody. I was actually born in New York, raised there. I moved there when I was 11 to South Carolina.
He corrected your ass. That's what my lady do to me.
Let's get it right. My parents are both from South Carolina. We moved to my dad's hometown.
So there,
which was a racist town. This was in the 70s. So I'm listening to all these stories y'all telling. So I know I've seen all that. I was treated a little bit different. You know how they treat Black athletes. You get a little bit more than their average Black. I was getting wins for the basketball team, so I was good while I was playing and stuff, Other than that, I've seen a white kid and a Black kid get into an argument. The Black kid gets expelled, even though the girl slapped him, and he got expelled. So as a Black, you start questioning these things. And I asked all my grandparents, and they tell me the history of the town and where my father's parents are from. There was a white man named Rowell. He owned the whole town, named Rowell Town. That's where we got our name from. He owned everything, going back to picking cotton and working in the tobacco fields. And it was weird. Coming from New York, I had to adjust to living down there. Because in the city, racism wasn't as overt in certain spots. Down there where I lived, you knew which whiteys didn't like Black folk. You know, they let it out straight out. Who, you know, you're a nigger, quote unquote. And I'm
With the
listening to
hard
when you're talking
ER.
about, yeah, yeah. I'm listening when you're talking about the Tarzan movie. I was laughing because I wrote that in the YouTube comments, and I was like, what white man can? I forgot what comedian said it, but he said how white man go talk to that. A black man in there 1,000 years came and talk to animals. You come there and you can talk to the animals and stuff. What are you nuts? You know what I mean? How all these movies. Another movie brought up I wanted to bring up was King Kong. The original King Kong was about Jack Johnson, the boxer. If y'all don't know that, I know you probably do. They based that because he was knocking out all those white men and sexing their white women. They couldn't stand it. You know what I mean?
Oh wow.
That was about Jack Johnson, the boxer.
Jack Johnson, who by the way had to leave. Excuse me, interrupt real quick. Jack Johnson actually had to leave this country because he married that white woman, and they took his title, and he ended up running to Cuba. Right,
that was against the law back then.
Exactly. It was against the law until 1972. And speaking on a personal level, I can assure you, it's still against the law in some places. I'm just saying.
I wouldn't.
Jack Johnson was so bad. I really do believe today he could whoop somebody's ass fighting like this.
Bare hand too. Bare. Remember,
you get your ass whooped with somebody doing this.
Just this with knuckles, no nothing on it. Like, let's go. Yeah.
Yeah.
But once again, it's looking at guys like Jack Johnson that they twist, and they still do it to this day. They twisted the narrative of what he was doing to make him out not as a superior human being for what he did, but as an animal. We were never, whenever we did anything athletic, I don't care. You talk about Michael Jordan. There are still people, man. Listen to I'm just being straight up, my own experience. Listen to white people the way they talk about Michael Jordan. All right, you never hear, oh man, he's one of the smartest guys in the game. The way he just knew how to play the game and how smart he was. It was always his animalistic tendencies. Jerry West was a great basketball player. All right, but Jerry West was always considered highly intelligent. Jerry West did not have a problem getting a job in NBA. He did not have a problem. He was able to go to any team he wanted to, because that symbol of him as the NBA symbol stood for more than being an athlete. It stood that meant we're smarter. You know what I'm saying? We have it's everything is done. When you look at we were talking earlier, John was talking about football players. Tell me what you talking about football players earlier about the quarterbacks and stuff, John.
I was going to say
still
the
at
same
the
thing.
age. Yeah, I'm still at the age where I remember if you was a dope ass quarterback coming out of college, you was immediately switched to a receiver, or running back, a defensive back, because at that time they didn't think that the black man can handle the playbook.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear you why they always saying that Tom Brady is the GOAT. But Warren Moon had to play 100 years in Canada before he came back to the Houston Oilers and still threw for
and still broke records.
Still
he was
broke
older
records.
And he broke records.
You know? So you look what they did to Slash. You know, they call him Slash, the quarterback. They try to make him a receiver / quarterback. And, he can't handle the plays. Listen. That's a sad thing. But when Jack Johnson won that heavyweight title, before he knocked that dude out, I don't know if people remember this. They was filming it, and a policeman cut the film off before he knocked him out. Said they will not get on footage a black man knocking out a white man. That wasn't going to happen. So they cut the tape, and a lot of people don't know this. After that fight, a few 100,000 black folks was killed. There was race riots going on all over the country because of that fight.
Right.
And all Jack Johnson did was said, "Fuck y'all," got back in the car with another white woman and drove off.
But look at Jim Brown also.
Motherfucker.
Look at Jim Brown also. He was part of his game when he left, and they loved him. But as soon as he started making movies with white women, he was a pariah. They didn't like him anymore.
That's right.
You know what's interesting is I don't think they didn't think we wasn't smart enough, right? This is my take. I know they knew we were smart enough. It's just that they don't have nobody black leading something. That's the whole thing. Because how could you think we was ignorant when we created every damn thing?
Because
I don't think they thought we. I don't think. Hold on. I don't think. Hold on.
Go.
I don't think they thought we were stupid. See, white people have been studying us since the beginning. That's why they was able to fuck us up or control us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I talk like this, Kev. I'm sorry, but this is why this is why they were able. They know they've been studying us since the beginning, since they brought us here. Everything, just like living in the projects. Keyword project. Watching us, taking stuff, putting it back. Okay, this is what they're gonna do. All right, this is what we do. We get them to hate each other, this, that, and the other. So I know they knew we were smart enough, but you can't have a black man leading, calling plays to white players and all of this. That's what I personally think.
Well, the reason I said that, because at the end of the day, besides their racism, white people concern is their pockets. So that's why when you look at Jackie Robinson, who wasn't the best Negro player back then, there was a whole shitload of players better than him. But why did they get him? Because he can handle what white folks was going to dish out because of him being in the military in World War II. All right? And they didn't want anybody to fly off. But it had to come down to them losing money and not winning games for to get a black man to try. It had to come down for this economy to go bankrupt and Mitt Romney to say, put the cars in Europe for them to finally give a brother a chance like Barack Obama. A lot of them don't. John Wayne had an article out in Playboy magazine. I think it was in 1971. His exact words, the dupe. I don't think that you should give black people too much power because they don't have the capacity to handle it and to be able to deal with it.
That's what he said.
And that is what a lot of, and even Dr. King talked about it. Dr. King talked about that what they lied about our mental capacity, that we are less moral, inferior, menacing. And all it is ignorance and crime and drugs and disease. That shit is going to all breed regardless what culture it is. But a lot of them are believe in that because they also believe in it in the churches. Segregated churches telling us how we're not human beings because God is the image of man, and since God is not a Negro, then we are not human beings.
Let me ask because based on everything I've been hearing all y'all say, y'all been bringing up all these examples, and especially about they weren't intelligent enough, this and that. How does somebody explain what happened to this sister right here? For those of y'all don't know that might be watching, I'm sure the panel knows, that is Missy Danielle Copeland, American ballet dancer for the American Ballet Theater. Only one of 3 classical ballet companies in the United States. On June 30th, 2015, Copeland became the first African-American woman to be promoted to principal dancer in the American Ballet Theater's 75-year history. All right? This is dancing. Isn't that supposedly what we do better than anybody else? Why do y'all think this happened to her? And I know it was explained, but go ahead, Justine. You got something on your head. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's not so much that dancing is our thing. The way that they separate when it comes to that is they look at us as good as we're good at shucking and jiving and that type of. They don't look at us and see graceful. And when you go into the classical arts, it becomes more of a graceful flow. And that's what they can't, in their minds, connect. Because of the whole looking at us as animals and things. Let me put up this hand from Europe. I'm missing a nail. But to just real quick, just to go back a second. I think in Karina's point, it's not that all white people know that we can handle, but I will say those in power are aware that we can handle. Now you have those people that are in power that end up dishing off these stereotypes and these things to those that don't understand those people that follow things that Trump say and forget about what's actually written down or the video we saw. It's just what you said. And that's to John's point, that there are many who, honest to God, just don't think that we're capable. You know what I'm saying? But I do believe those that are in power, if you want to, we can go back to the ones that you guys were talking about. But even in recent years, do you know, I know you guys know the mark that Michael Vick would have made had he not had the incident with the dogs. Now, I'm not saying don't be punished, so on and so forth, but we have athletes in there that have beat women, who have stolen stuff, done drugs, all types of stuff that don't get half the lashing that this people for animals. Again, I'm not saying go hurt animals. I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying that. But I'm saying that man was going to be one of the greats, and they stopped it. You know, Colin Kaepernick, all he did was take a knee. He took a knee, and his career done. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like anything that they can see. Those are those that they can't put that mark on. They have nothing that they can really say about them. Then they become the acceptable Negroes. You know what I'm saying? Uncle Kev was the acceptable Negro because he was bringing something, you know, and I'm sure there wasn't too much that you could complain about. And I understand that transition at that age, going from New York, where you're not really seeing it so overt, to going to so blatant, to going to Apopka, Florida, where at that time it was not the place to be. You know what I'm saying? And you know, a bunch of dirt roads and horses and stuff like that. Like, they look at us in a certain way, and it's beautiful when we're given the opportunity to shine above that and make us undeniable. And that's what happens in a lot of cases. There's sometimes where you just cannot deny it. You know what I'm saying? And that's when you gotta give it to us. There's no way around it. You gotta give it to us.
What I will say about it real quick is the NFL has been known to run it like a plantation. You know you're gonna have them issues when, even though you have the majority of the league black, the majority of the coaches, the majority of the GMs, all of them are white. The announcers, all right? So, but you look at the NBA, you know what I'm saying?
They don't call it anymore. They're principles now. They changed real quick. It's principles now. But so, the NFL will not give that up. And speaking of sports, this may be a sore subject for some of us, but and some of y'all watching, you might be watching. This is just for you, right? This is a picture that I found in a newspaper, which I didn't know about, man. Y'all know who that is? Guess who that is? Yeah.
Yep.
That's Serena Williams. Serena Williams, who now it's, you know, once again, angry black woman. And why? You know, and notice a muscular structure, I might add. Very exaggerated. Now, you can holler cartoon all you want. Notice her face, her hair, her whole thing. You know what I'm saying? This is the kind of stuff that they're allowed, that unfortunately they're allowed to get away with. You know what I'm saying? And I've often said before, and I said this to Just the First the other day, that the attacking of the black woman, this does not surprise me at all, because they done messed with it. Black women messed around, and not when they 2000 in this last election, and actually in California, which we're going to talk about that later, but in California, right, they done mess with these people money. You know what I'm saying? It ain't as easy for them to do what they do anymore, because everybody has always warned everybody for years. And see, even to the place, and you gotta remember, it's divide and conquer. That's why I didn't get upset when that Spanish actress made that remark about black women. What about us? You know, what about Latina? I'm not, nobody's disrespecting Latinas, but let's keep it 100. All right. The idea was to divide. All right. The idea was a holy divide, and it's the same thing they're trying to do with Serena Williams and that girl Osaka. What's her name? The one from Japan.
Naomi Osaka.
Naomi Osaka.
Once again, it's divide and conquer. It's divide and conquer. We may have came on it, like Jesse Jackson said, we may have came on different ships, but we all on the same boat right about now. You hear what I'm saying? You know. So
let me just interject right quick about you're talking about intelligence on the football field. Remember when Doug Williams won the Super Bowl?
Exactly. Yep.
He was out of football the next year.
Exactly.
Remember when Craig Hodges for the Chicago Bulls? He
right.
did what Kaepernick did. He didn't take a knee, but he was protesting. He was out of basketball for next year. So
and did he play with Jordan? Didn't Craig Hodges play with Jordan?
Yeah, for a year.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what about also the brother from the Sacramento Kings, the Muslim brother? I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
Him. What about what he did? I'm talking about not Raheem. He was the center. I'm talking about the point guard.
That sat down.
Point guard, the one that sat down.
He was a forward.
He wouldn't stand up for the flag.
I'm talking about the young brother, the Muslim brother.
Yeah,
refused.
Yeah, he was a forward.
He refused. No, he was a guard. He refused to stand.
Guard. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he got kicked out and ran out of basketball. Yep. Yeah. Once you show intelligence, they find it and tap it down. But the thing is, these guys are making them so much money. They're breaking the barriers. Look how many black quarterbacks you got now. Because they're so much better.
Because you can't deny it. When we make it to a point where you cannot deny it, we force their hand.
We the best. Like Colin said, we the best at everything.
That's why I show no love to Babe Ruth. You're gonna tell me Babe Ruth? I like to see him try to swing at a I heard you. But I like to see him take a swing at Satchel Paige.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Those Negro League players played against them back in the days as much as the white players. They couldn't stop that. And remember, Pat Riley played on the Adolph Rupp team. Adolph Rupp said, I will never have any black players that play for Kentucky. And he played for that team who got beat by those black boys back then. And that year, he couldn't stand it, Adolph Rupp. He didn't want no black players.
After that game, the first thing he said is, get me some niggas.
That's what they said in Alabama, too.
Yeah, right.
Alabama, they didn't want blacks.
Before we get to wrapping this up, we tend to spend a lot of time when we're talking about things in general, focusing on black men, right? So I just wanted to bring up this point right here when it comes to stereotypes. And it's actually a lead into my show tomorrow. A huge stereotype that black women have to deal with is that we are expected to be strong 24/7, 365 a year. We're not expected to have breaks. If we do, then we're lazy. If we ask for help, we're gold diggers. Anything we do, we're wrong. You know what I'm saying? And that, yes, we are strong. And we love that you guys spend a lot of time on Mother's Day shouting us out. But I think that it needs to be, you guys can tune in tomorrow for in-depth. But I think that it's important to mention, you know, all of these things that the black man goes through. We get it. But we get all of that, and then we got to carry it on, because if we don't, then we're not loyal. We're not real queens. We're not supportive, you know? And very rarely do we find a gem that'll be like, you know what? Let me take care of you real quick. Let me make you, because men tend to think buying stuff. I pay the bills, so I'm good. But, you know, especially in 2021, we work the same 40 plus hours. Then we got to come home and clean and cook and make sure the kids.
And not equal pay. You working.
And don't even have we talk about all of this tomorrow and don't even have the equal pay. But we're expected to do the same amount of work plus some and still smile all the time. You know why? Because if I walk into the gas station and I don't have a smile, why you not smiling, little lady? Why you not smiling, Miss Lady? Go ahead and smile for me. I don't want to. And now I'm a bitch.
It's showing right now. You have no idea. I saw it. I almost want to put this on right now. What we're gonna get out in a couple of minutes, but I want to skip to this thing. We got a new feature coming up, folks, that y'all need to check out, right? And it's called What the Fuck. And we're gonna talk on the other side of that. And then, hey, Queen, you got a solution for us?
Oh, you need me to have a solution?
Oh, baby, and you know what? You actually got 4 minutes to come up with it. Because first, I got a question to ask y'all.
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
What the fuck? Fuck. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
By the way, when you mentioned that the UK was ahead of us, they were. Do you know that the slave owners were compensated? After they lost their quote-unquote property, the government compensated slave owners.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so when people talk about reparations, do they really want to have that conversation? Because, like it or not, slavery was legal. And so their property, their legal property, was taken away from them after the Civil War. So you can make an argument that the people that are owed reparations, and not only just black people, but also the people whose quote property, close quote, was taken away after the end of the Civil War.
Black folks having a conversation.
I'm a roll of blunt. I'm not playing with y'all today.
Thomas was a picture.
Hold up before y'all get into it, because this is my section. Larry Elder. That's right, Cheryl Thomason. That's right. He said, what the what? Exactly. Larry Elder, who was a black man, conservative radio talk show host, which I have no problem with. He just told us, because a lot of people on Facebook, and there's 140 of y'all watching right now, and I know a lot of y'all probably checked out because a lot of y'all were talking to me about this earlier. And I told you he said it, right? A black man just got on TV with Candace Owens, a black woman, and just said neither one of them have never advocated for black people to have reparations, but they are over the top that property was denied or taken away from white slave owners. Therefore, they should be allowed to get reparations. First of all, let's clear up a couple of things. Number one, me, anybody that looks like me, any descendant of mine is not property. So to that I say, what the fuck, right? Whatever you may feel, if your attitude is seriously, Mr. Elder, that number one, you think the reparations should be given out, then here's what I suggest. Let's listen to what Karina Fort said to us not too long ago and says this all the time. The only thing white folks have invented was the patent office. Pardon me while I keep it a buck. With that in mind, does that mean that the United States now owes reparations to every Western African country that our ancestors were stolen from? Because take those same inventions, put them in Africa right now, and those people over here in America are now coming to Wakanda trying to get $1 or $2. Do you hear what I'm saying? Keep one thing in mind. If you are that anxious to believe that you are property, right? As much as I love you as a black man, as much as I love you as a black woman, then I give you permission to give yourself back to those slave owners. Now I bring in the panel because I still got to say, what the fuck? Yeah, y'all. When just the verse is wordless, that tells you all you need to know right there.
Oh, I got words, but y'all don't got time for the words that I have, so I'm gonna go ahead and let that go. Use your imagination. Think of what just the verse might say. You know what I'm saying?
I say, let John do this one. Let John do this one.
Well, what he said, I thought he said that they did give them the slave owners reparations.
No, he said what they were talking about. To clear it up real quick, they were talking about what happened after the English slave owners lost their slaves. Then England gave reparations, and what he said, the very first thing he said is, "That's right, England was ahead of us." He talks as if he's a white, as if he is a descendant of slave owners. England was ahead of us. That's what he said. And what did Candace Owens say? I didn't know that. That's fascinating. I'm sorry that your ancestors, because sister, let me tell you something. I don't care who you think you are, that your ancestors were property, and you find it fascinating that white people paid reparations.
They got reparations.
But Uncle Kev was asking. It was at the end. Yes, he did talk about the fact that they got paid after he was saying that there are many more that should get paid still from it. That's the part that you missed, Uncle Kev.
But they did that with Haiti too. That's why Haiti's jacked up. When they lost their independence, France charged them for losing all that free labor and stuff.
Yep.
That's why they jacked up. They always got a plan. We divided. We were talking about the projects earlier. They were offering women, I'll give you this apartment, I'll give you the money, but you can't have a man live with you.
Yep.
Why would you take away a man to help out? it's like you said, divide and conquer. There's always a plan. People think the system isn't broken. It's fixed and it's working fine the way it's supposed to
Yep, the
work.
way they want it.
How they gonna
That's
offer
the
you?
word right there.
Why did they break up your family? I'm gonna give you an apartment with you can bring your kids, but your husband got to go. So now, what happens with that? You get a man who's not at home with his family. Then eventually, the woman gets mad at him because he's not there taking care of business. But you took this apartment, So they're going at it. They're butting heads now because of what they divided that family up, and then all the problems come from behind that. A divide and conquer is the oldest thing in the world, and it still works.
Still works.
And then in 2021, we say, historically, men are not in the black home. Black people say that mess. I hope all of y'all watch those pictures in the beginning of this episode. And I hope you find them and share them, because I've heard black people say, well, historically, traditionally, black men are not in the home. And that is a lie, because even to this day, many black men are in the home.
Before segregation, they were always in the home.
Of course.
They took them out. That's why.
That's my point. That's my point. Because they took them out and they've been taking them out, it has become a generational thing to the ones in 2021 believe that black men just weren't there. They don't understand that they were removed from the situation. They're not, because they've never seen those pictures that we were showing in the beginning. So all they know is when we were slaves, they were separated from each other, and this one was sold this way, and so they weren't home, and they've never been home ever since. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why they make fun of these people who both parents are out. Look at 8 Mile. Remember the rap? You know what I'm saying? Like, but you get made fun of because both of your parents are home. That's weird.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We tried to go home. We tried to go home. Mega Havers tried to go home.
It's true. You're
right.
Yeah.
Rodney King tried to go home. I mean, we've been trying to go home. Brother got shot in the back trying to go home. We've been trying to go home, and even when we get home, we go to sleep. We get shot. Brianna, we can't sit there and watch TV on the couch and eat ice cream. So we can't jog. You don't think George Floyd was trying to go home? We can't. I saw a brother in the neighborhood the other day running. The first thing I thought of is, oh God, I hope he don't get caught thinking that he's. And I could tell the brother was just hit a stopwatch and like doing wind sprints, because I train. I know what wind sprints like. But I guarantee you, had he been running a few miles to the left or the right, Newington, how many times I done got man, we got stories for Nah, I'm good too.
We all do.
I don't want to get mad.
We all do. And that's the saddest thing about it. We all got those stories. At least one of us should be able to say, no, I never really had a bad experience with none of us on this panel, even the ex-police officer, the retired police officer.
I was going to say, and you were witness to it. You actually witnessed to mine. Thank God I had my
to the most recent.
Exactly. And keep one thing in mind. This brother, sometimes there are black men that don't get a chance to go home. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, guys like
We're doing that movie now.
Sometimes
Trayvon Martin was literally going home.
He was going home.
We're doing that movie here now. In Atlanta, we're doing that movie. They're recruiting for it now.
Let me get a wrap right now on this. And what do you say? We gonna put her on the spot. I love putting her on the spot because she always comes up with brilliant stuff anyway. We need some solutions.
Look what I did, I made history. They don't know what to do with me. Ain't looking back, keeping it moving. I know exactly how to do this. Keep smiling, make a wow. Stay loud, don't dumb it down. Hold my crown up to the sky. Hold your crown up to the sky.
Solutions. Stereotypes. They've been around way longer than I could ever imagine or remember. And it's not only white people that put these on us. We put these on us.
Preach.
We're always the first to say, like, you can't do that. Shut your ass up. We can. We will, and we are. You know, it's that mentality we're stuck in. There's people that are woke, but there's still so many people in slumber, in a deep ass sleep. We can't be the first one to say something about something. Anytime it's anything, we're always the first to speak. We should shut up and just listen to see what they're thinking. See, because white people won't say it first. They'll wait to see what we saying, and they co-sign the shit out of it because we're wrong. A lot of times we're wrong because we stereotype ourselves. Like, you look at somebody and maybe they're a young kid. Maybe his pants is a little low. They're a little tight. Maybe his hair ain't the cutest, right? But what you didn't know, right, is that same kid that you think is a thug and about to rob you is a multi-millionaire. He owns his own company. He got a few car washes. He got a YouTube channel, right? He got a TikTok channel. He's busy making money. He's an entrepreneur. But we stereotype too. They say Karens. There's a lot of black Karens and Kens out there.
Preach.
So look, the solution to all of this, how about we mind our business?
Amen.
And not think that we can't be more. Take off the slave mentality. Rock your curls, your dreads, your afro. Be proud. Because I'll say it again. We the best at whatever we do.
Original man.
Baby.
I feel like we need a praise break.
That's y'all.
Hallelujah.
Always a solution, like I said. Hey, check it out. Tomorrow, folks. Tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, 8 o'clock. You got to check out It's Just Conversations. This is deep. It's deep, you know. It's not okay. It's okay to not be a strong, independent woman all the time. And there are lessons in that for everybody. Fellas, it's for us too. There's some lessons we need to learn. Thank you very much.
And
Kev,
just
Big Kev,
know it's for all races. All races, women,
all
period.
races.
It's talking about women, period. I know I'll be on my black, but this is about women, period.
Females, period. There's 90 some of y'all that caught that. So females, period. Tell your friends. Make sure you'll share this thing. Make sure you'll subscribe on YouTube to us. Check us out on IG. This thing will be up. And don't forget tomorrow, Big Kev is going to be coming to us this fall. Sunday Jazz Brunch. Y'all want this. Holland John going to be coming to us. You know, for old school, for real. Y'all going to be down with this. Trust me. And I'm going to got a little sample of it coming up soon. Big Kev's thing coming up. And y'all can check that out. We're going to be throwing that down. I got a bunch of his shows on. So, I mean, you're going to definitely enjoy it. So, Big Kev, thanks a lot for joining us, brother, for keeping it 100.
Thank you, Kev.
John
Nice meeting you.
Thank you, brother.
all the way from Cuncut up there hanging out. Thank you, my brother. We appreciate you. And watch it because part of your paint is peeling in the corner, so your piano's about to peel away. Just the first.
The government already took my shirt.
and Paul's Pull Out Radio, so we know what the deal is. Just the first. Thank you so much for joining us as always, because we know that you got it 100 and you keep it a buck. And to the Queen, always solution all the way around. Thanks a lot, y'all, for coming out. We hope that you guys learned a little something. All right, and don't forget. Please support UVVTV because it's real TV. It's for you. I ain't playing no games. I'm Edward H. Clark. I'm your host. I'm out. Peace.
Blessings.
It frustrates me to see so-called artists abuse my love. I want to bring the music back to what it was, what it used to be. When we felt a vibe, deep inside, close our eyes and let go. See, cats from Aretha to Stevie, Shaka to the Black MJ, India to Jodeci's first 2 CDs, Talib to Flame, and music to me, just a verse. Having will, maintain the love behind the scenes, behind the green. You feel me, Flame?
Yeah, I propose we stay grounded.
Cause this craft we have mastered is founded on a greater plan that has somehow been tainted, but
we strive to maintain it, claim it without shaming it.
We need to start a new path, seldom taken, venture into a world forgotten, a world of talent and love of music, where artists wouldn't dream to abuse it.
Your piece just the verse?
All right, Flame.
No doubt.
We out.
Let's have a conversation. Have a conversation. We can have a conversation. We can have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. We can have a conversation. We can have a conversation.
How about a big hand now? Thank y'all.
And if you don't know, now you know.